is the Rich Brooks Show, featuring the Oregon Ducks. Brought to you in part by Taylor Electric, Mashofsky Enterprises, Eimer Oswald Volvo, Bymark, Cellular One, the Oregon Club of Portland, the Rich Brooks Show.
Hi everybody, I'm Todd McKim along with the coach, and welcome to this week's show. We'll take a look at the USC contest, also feature one of the players who played well against the Trojans and has throughout the course of his career. Hear from the players about the game and preview the next game, New Mexico State, as the Ducks stay at home in this brief two-game road stand. Coach, coming into the ball game, it was a big game. Everybody knew it. You had come off a disappointing loss last week to Utah. The Trojans were coming off a disappointing loss. And I think for the first half, both teams played pretty well, and the only difference in the first half as far as scoring was concerned is one turnover by you that they converted into a field goal, but it was 6-6 at the half in a very hard-fought physical football game.
Well, it's the type of game that I expected, Todd. We hoped to do a good job at the line of scrimmage, contain their option game, which we did. We were unable in a real tight game to make some big plays. SC eventually did make some. We had a couple of chances and they didn't bounce our way, but I thought we played emotionally. I thought we played hard. The execution wasn't there always, but certainly in the first half I thought it was very much a game that we could win.
The Ducks won the toss of the coin, elected to defer, actually had the wind at your back to start the ball game in the first quarter, and so USC will go on offense. We take a look at the opening kickoff and the first offensive play of the game, which is one of those plays that you look back on, might have been very, very pivotal. You see the reception by Hanna, and he's actually tripped up by his own man, Conway. But the first play of the ball game is a critical game, a critical play.
Well, it really is. They run the reverse on the first play, and Todd, I'm not going to try to complain too much here, but that's a fumble, and that is a big play in the game. We get the ball on the first play of the game on a turnover on a 9 or 10 yard line. You can see the ball's out. That's a fumble, and we recover on the 9 yard line, but they rule the play dead.
So what would have been a very big turnover for your squad is nullified, and then Ernest Jones comes in and sacks Perry, a loss of 3.
Ernest has good speed and quickness, and he's fired up, isn't he?
Well, your team was. You came out and played well early.
Nice job there on the replay by Ernest Jones, slipping inside, coming in and getting the sack on the second play of the game.
So it's 3rd and 25 from the USC 3. They give it to Royster, and he gets about 5, just gives him some room to punt the football, and so your team takes over 1st and 10 at the SC 43.
Good line surge on first down. Jumper spins forward for a 5 yard gain.
Kind of pounded into the middle here to try to pick up some additional yardage.
Looked like USC's worked on the trap play from the week before. That was a trap. We tried to run it, and Donovan Moore hits it in for about a 2 yard gain, setting us up for a 51.5 yard field goal.
And Greg McCallum just nailed that one right down the heart. That ties his career long, and you capitalize with good field position and get the 3 points.
It's too bad we weren't able to sustain more than that, but at least we got a score on the board early. Perry on the rollout here finds his tight end Jackson in the flat, and Ernest Jones makes the tackle after a first down.
Try the option play. Watch the hit here by Chad Cota. Royster shaken up.
Chad playing for Castle, who was injured early in the first quarter, and Riddy is a hitter, as you could see by that play. Nice pass rush there, forcing Perry to throw incomplete.
3rd down and 12. They try to fullback up the middle, and he gets only about 7, and so SC is forced to punt. The Ducks were unable to move it, so the Trojans get it back. Good defense of the option.
Marcus Woods and Ernest Jones. Watch Marcus Woods at the nose guard shed the block. Ernest Jones from the backside, number 40 chasing. Andy Connor forces it inside, and there's Marcus and Ernest to make the play.
Big play by those two. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
A dash pass here where they drop back and then roll out, but pretty good coverage down the field by Chad Cota.
So the Ducks get it back late first quarter, leading 3-0.
O'Neal on the scramble, puts the ball away and picks up 8.
So it'll be 2nd down, and Brandon Jumper gets the call, and he will pick up the first.
He's got to run with a little lower pad level. He's a big guy, and he's running a little too high. Play action pass, hit Jeff Thomason up the middle for a 1st down. See on the replay, we're trying to fake the belly into Jumper and run Thomason right up over where the linebacker came up to support the run on the, trying to think that Jumper had the ball. Little quick pass to Thomason in the flat for about a 4-yard gain.
So it's 3rd down and 7. Barber makes the sack, and the drive is stalled. So Tommy Thompson to punt it away. Good coverage here.
Tackled by Herman O'Berry and Mark Slyman.
And the final play of the first quarter.
Nice play by Muhammad Oliver for no gain. See it on the replay. Andy Connor does a good job bouncing this play wide. It's meant to go inside, actually, and there wasn't anything there, and Muhammad takes him down for no gain.
So that was the final play of the first quarter, with the Ducks leading the Trojans by a count of 3-0. Let's pick up the second quarter highlights. And as we do, USC has the football deep in its own territory. Almost a sack for a big loss. As Perry eludes the pressure and somehow manages to pick up 3 positive yards. And then on 3rd down, again, they're just a little conservative with the play call, and they just try to move it out of there to give their punter some room. You get some good field position out of this one as well, Coach, after the punt and a face mask call against the Trojans.
Big series here because we do have excellent field position, and we really don't take advantage of it. In fact, we turned the ball loose. I thought last night that may have been caused by the ground, but that did look like the ball was coming out. He just was coming out with his left hand. His back was to me on the sideline, and he juggled it, and SC recovered it, and under the new rule, they can advance a fumble beyond the line of scrimmage, which they did for 35 yards. Great job by our defense coming in here after this turnover, what we call sudden change, and nice play there by James Batista, tackling Conway for a loss on the option.
They brought in Conway for this series, try to give themselves a little bit of a spark and run the ball. He makes a good play here to the tight end, Jackson.
Play they hurt us on in the first half, but we were able to adjust to and cover in the second. Come down the line with the option again, and a nice play by Andy Connor, and Marcus Woods is out there as well. Counter play to Royster, and we hold it 4 yards short of the 1st down.
Big play here. The pitch is wide, and Paul's trying to stop Royster from getting to the ball, but it just bounced right back to him.
That's one of those plays, Todd, that you just wonder, you know, the first play of the game, we cause a fumble, we don't get it. They make a bad play here, and it's bouncing around. It can go anywhere, but it bounces right back up to Royster, and we see we have other people there, but it doesn't bounce our way, and it's just one of those things that happens in football.
If the ball was round, it might be different, but the ball isn't round in football, so you never know where it's going to bounce. So the Trojans tied up as Ford kicks a 31-yard field goal, and now the Ducks get it back, and this is your best drive of the football game.
Little screen pass out to Donovan Moore, picks up a 1st down. Going into the wind now, and it's critical that we do move the ball out of the short end of the field, which we did not do in the 3rd quarter. Under pressure, O'Neal throws the screen pass. Donovan gets it. You can see we get some good blocks out on the perimeter there.
And Yee comes out of nowhere to make the tackle to prevent a longer gain.
Run the play up inside. Donovan Moore picks up about 6.
So on 2nd down from the 38.
Bootleg with O'Neal finding Jeff Thomason, cross midfield, and lunges forward for 2 or 3 extra yards.
Gain of 18.
See on the replay here, we fake the play to Donovan Moore. Nice fake by Danny O'Neill. Comes to the perimeter, plenty of time, good protection. John Tattersall's out in front of him. Finds Jeff Thompson wide open coming across from the opposite side of the field. And Jeff does a good job getting extra yardage.
After a offensive or defensive offsides penalty, you have 1st and 5. Moore gets a couple in there, and then it's 2nd down and 2.
Play action again. This time he finds Juan Shedrick for the 1st down.
Gain of 11.
See, it's the same action actually, only we're going to the tight end instead of away from him. And the fullback slips out in the flat and picks up a nice 11-yard gain and a 1st down.
So the drive continues. Now at the SC 25.
Hard run for about 5 yards by Donovan Moore up the middle.
Moore on the left side. He gets about 4 more. So it's 3rd down and 1. Looked like the play you ran last week against Utah on the 4th down. This time you got it on 3rd down.
Yeah, and that play, Greg Phillips, our starting center for all 4 games this year, leaves with what may be a badly bruised leg at best, or possible fracture, and that will be x-rayed further today.
It's too bad, because that play that we saw, the incompletion, was the one that Ernest Jones was open, and Danny just a little pressure. That was a sure touchdown. It
was. We were open on a crossing pattern, and unfortunately O'Neill could not get the ball off, but Anthony Jones didn't have anybody around. And here they run the option into the short side, and we don't get anybody on the quarterback, and they pick up a nice gain.
So the Ducks leading 6-3, late 2nd quarter.
This is the same play they were throwing to the tight end, only this one they pick up the split end coming across.
That's how you defense the option.
Nice play by Joe Farwell tackling Perry on the option play. You can see it on the replay. 51 scrapes right on outside, passes the fullback, passes everybody, goes directly to the quarterback, and makes the play.
So 3rd down and 5.
Try to hit us on a fade pattern, well covered by Muhammad Oliver.
So the drive stalls for USC, and Ford comes back in. And in the 1st half, both field goal kickers were perfect. That one tied it up at 6-6 at the intermission. So at the end of the 1st half, it was anybody's ball game.
This was a big series for us, Todd, because we needed to, and we make a bad decision right there, 5 or 6 yards deep. Muhammad should have left that ball in the end zone, and he elected to return it and only got out to the 14-yard line. 3rd down play here, Danny O'Neill finds Brandon Jumper up over the middle, and I can't even see the ball come out, but I don't know whether we got it or they ruled it down eventually, but this is a nice 3rd down conversion. Little dump pass to the fullback checking down over the middle, and Jumper takes it up.
It's hard to tell if he was down or not. It almost looked like he had spun and sat on a defender, and then the ball came loose, but whatever.
This really is a breakdown here in our punting game. Tommy didn't have a very good 3rd quarter. He punted poorly into the wind. The ball bounced backward, a net 20-yard punt, and SC tries to run it down the field on us, and we there force him into a 3rd down situation.
Big play right here, and it'll be one that'll be talked about for a while. Ball is incomplete. Would have forced a field goal, but we'll take a low look at a replay. Is this roughing the passer?
Well, obviously it is, because the official called it, but you can see LeBounty hits him just as he goes, and he just finishes the tackle. LeBounty's face is already in the chest of the quarterback, not knowing whether the ball's gone or not. I do not believe that's roughing the passer.
The Trojans take advantage of that penalty, and on the next play, Royster takes the pitch and takes it into the end zone, and the Trojans with the 1st touchdown of the game. Royster called for taunting right there, I guess, a personal foul against USC, but you counter that off on the extra point.
You know, we had a chance here to get good field position, but one of our players lost his poise inside and shoved back at an SC player, and he was called for 15 fouls, so it ended up being an 15 yards offsetting penalties.
2nd down play there. This next one is a 3rd down and 4. O'Neill
trying to get a screen pass, but couldn't find an open lane to pass it through. And SC again has the ball in great field position. Royster up the middle, big hole, tackled by Castle, but not before gaining a first down inside our 20. Option pitch outside, and Royster takes it down to, that's Romeo Bandison coming clear across the field, showing great speed and pursuit on that play.
Royster slips and falls. A loss of 2 there, but you had it pretty well defended as well.
Well, there wasn't any play. He was trying to cut back because we had it shut off at the point of attack.
So 3rd down and goal from the 14. Jackson incomplete. Good coverage there by Ernest Jones. And so Ford with the field goal, and the Trojans have struck twice here in the 3rd period and have taken a 10-point lead.
Draw play to Donovan Moore, gains about 3.
I need you to explain the ruling here, because I think there was some confusion as to where the ball should be marked with a fumble. Now, it looked like Danny maybe had gotten the ball out to the stripe, which would have been a first down.
That was a first down. Should have been, because that's where the ball came loose. You can't get the yardage from where the ball leaves his hand to where it goes out of bounds. Under a new rule, it comes back to the spot where it was fumbled. But they actually marked this ball back about 1.5 yards, because you can see the ball is on the line when he fumbles it where the first down marker is, and they mark it back at about the 28.5-yard line.
Could Danny advance his own fumble? He's the only one that can, right?
Danny could recover it. And here we get a bad snap. Tommy does a good job handling it, and he runs to the right and gets the punt off. Was roughed, but the official ruled that he had lost his protection because he looked like he was going to run with the ball.
Well, your defense, though, comes in here and prevents further damage. Good pressure from the backside.
Ernest Jones getting to Royster and forcing him to throw incomplete.
So the 3rd quarter was all Trojans. They lead it 16-6 as we go into the final 15 minutes of play, and USC continues to move the football. Start off with the Ducks having the football and trying to get something going here.
It's underthrown a little bit. Anthony had to come back for it. This little swing pass out to Anthony Jones. You see pump faking to another receiver and then throwing to Jones, and it was underthrown, and Anthony couldn't keep his momentum going up the field, unfortunately, because I think he would have had a chance to make a move and maybe make a lot more yards.
He's lucky he didn't hurt his knee.
O'Neal scrambles, and this time does a good job looking inside and finding Shedrick and picking up a first down there. Nice job on a scramble, but this time he decides to look for somebody to throw to and does find Juan Shedrick checking out of the backfield for a nice gain.
Gain of 14, first down. The next play we pick up is a 3rd and 10.
Nice run there by Donovan Moore, shedding the tackle and picking up a hard first down.
Indeed he did, a gain of 12.
It's a little screen pass back over to Donovan Moore. And you can see he gets turned around to catch it, and as he turns, there's a big old Trojan, but he shook the tackle and kept running for 14 yards.
Big play coming up here, as looks like you're trying to get something going. You're out in Trojan territory, and then O'Neal fires deep, and we can't see it here. We'll look at it at the low replay. Anthony Jones wrapped up the USC defender. I guess we're not going to see. We're going to see the interception instead.
Followed it. You make a mistake on the pass. It shouldn't have thrown deep. Anthony was well covered. We get called for offensive pass interference. 15 yards, loss of down. Now we're 2nd and 25, and that touchdown there is a result of our own mistakes. And unfortunately, we had Ronnie Harris open on the play coming across on the short route. Doug Musgrave now in at quarterback, fumbles the snap, and SC recovers it and gets great field position and a cheap touchdown.
Royster bouncing it to the outside and gets it into the end zone. I think some folks, going back to that pass interference, whether or not the ball was catchable, how does that come into play with regard to offensive pass interference?
There's no such thing as whether it was catchable or uncatchable on offensive pass interference. That's not a factor.
Okay, so the kickoff, and Donovan Moore has returned 2 coming in, and now this is 3rd. He's averaged 29 yards of return, and he gets 29 on this one.
It's a nice return by Donovan, giving us decent field position. We'll see it on the replay. It's a short kick, almost out of bounds, and I'm sure he was considering whether he should try to let it go or not, but elected to field it right next to the sideline. You can see he's only about a foot in bounds, and he takes it up inside, gets some good blocks by Joe Baggio and Jeff Allen, and takes it up for a good gain.
So the ball is now out at the 38. Musgrave remains in the ball game, and on first down, fires a strike to Ronnie Harris.
That's the play that O'Neal should have hit on the one that we were called for pass interference, because Ronnie was open on that one at the time we threw it. You can see Doug step up here, gets good protection from Todd Gettison, and he finds Harris, throws a little bit behind him, but Harris catches it on a crossing pattern and picks up a first down.
Unfortunately, though, with the ball in Trojan territory, the next one not quite as true. A little bit overthrown and intercepted by USC's Calvin Holmes. Trojans can't move it, so the Ducks get it back. Now Brett Salisbury is in the game at quarterback. He comes out firing, and Harris makes another reception.
Nice catch by Ronnie in between the short and deep zone. Ball's thrown a little bit behind him as well, and he makes a nice catch turning around, but it was a nice throw by Brett.
And so with the drive continuing, Clifford gets about 7, and then with a first down and 10 at the USC 26-yard line, Salisbury to throw. Harris again, crossing pattern, streaks into the end zone for the touchdown, and that is our play of the day. And Coach, tell us what happened on this one and why it worked.
Well, it's a pretty simple play-action pass here. We're faking the ball to the tailback coming strong here. We're running the tight end on a crossing pattern, clearing with the flanker here down to take the safety out, and we take Ronnie Harris, who has excellent speed, take him down about 7-8 yards and break him hard across the middle, and Salisbury delivers the ball on time, and Ronnie just uses his speed to take it into the end zone.
All right, we'll take another look at it.
You can see the play-action fake.
We'll go right back to the highlights and pick up the 2-point conversion, because you need 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions at this point to try to tie the game.
Just to try to tie.
So you see the score right there. As we head back, the final score was 30-14, USC coming out on top. So a disappointing loss for the Ducks, as they had played well for the first half, but USC a little too much strength coming down the stretch. Let's take a look at the post-game statistics. And, you know, statistics, you can read them how you want, but they're pretty close in a number of areas. USC with more rushing yardage, as Royster was the leading rusher in the ball game. He finished with 132 yards. Passing-wise, the Ducks with an advantage there, but some of that came late in the final quarter. Total offense, you know, defensively, again, your defense comes in and limits it to only 275. The Trojans played the short field most of the night, and that certainly helped them as far as scoring is concerned. Flipping the page, the big one, turnovers, 4-0. Penalties, both teams victimized quite a bit in that department. Return yardages, they had a big advantage there. Third down conversions, neither team very successful in that department. Let's take a look at some of the individuals. You see O'Neal's statistics. Danny, I think, was 6 for 10 in the first half, so struggled in the second half. Perry only had to throw 12 times and completed 6 for 64 yards. And in rushing, Donovan Moore, again for the second straight week, the leading rusher, 13 for 38 yards, and Royster over the 100-yard mark for the first time this year with a couple of scores. Some questions from our studio audience. First of all, you had a workout on Saturday morning. A little bit unusual to have a workout on the day of a game. Basketball coaches like to do it, but it's very unusual in football. What was the reason this week for doing it?
Well, there's a new NCAA rule, Todd, that says you must give the players at least 1 day off a week. That means no meetings of any kind, no practice, no weightlifting. So we elected, because it was a night game, to give them Friday off. We could take care of our meetings on the day, Saturday, and since it was going to be such a long day, we decided to get them out of the hotel, take them over to the stadium, and let them run around a little bit.
All right, another one of our members of the studio audience wants to know, is there any review process for officiating, either by coaches or by the conference itself?
You're going to get me in trouble, huh, Todd? Huh? There is a process. The coaches of both teams evaluate the officials and send a report into the conference office. There also is an observer in the press box that does the same thing, and then the supervisor of officials, Verl Sorgen, will rate the officials as well. And at the end of the year, all those ratings are compiled of all the games, and they decide, I guess, who the best officials are and who the worst, and occasionally there may be an official drop because he doesn't grade out well.
Okay, let's take a look at New Mexico State. This was a game, the first game of the year. They're in the dark uniforms against UTEP, and you can see they can throw the football. 3 touchdown passes in this game. UTEP on the offense. We'll kind of see a look at both offenses here as you can see they get burned for the touchdown. But as you mentioned, it's a team that's trying to build, and I mean, they're going to be a lot like Utah. They're going to come in here, I would think, feeling they probably don't have a whole lot to lose.
Well, that's right, and they're going to come in here and roll the dice. They'll take chances. They'll do whatever they can do to try to find a win, and nice throw and a great effort there to get into the end zone.
And you see UTEP had to come from behind in this ball game before finally prevailing. The final score was 22-21. When you talk about the conference, the teams that have enjoyed the most success so far are the teams that have returning quarterbacks. California, Mike Pawlowski. Washington, although Hobart is new, they have so many returning players that they just have a lot of talent. UCLA has Tommy Maddox. So there's a lot to say. You're going through some learning stages with a freshman quarterback. USC has done it. Everybody seems to have struggled with the new quarterbacks in there so far this year.
Well, a little bit. I don't think I can lay that all on our inexperience at quarterback.
Right.
We just need to have some other people step up and make some plays. And the first 2 games, we had some of that happening. In the last 2, it hasn't happened as much. We need big plays on defense. We need some big plays in the kicking game. We have not had those. So.
Need it next week, and we also need to see a big crowd back at Autzen Stadium as the Ducks take on the Aztecs of New Mexico State. So for the coach, I'm Todd McKim. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
This is the Rich Brooks Show, featuring the Oregon Ducks. Brought to you in part by Taylor Electric,